sense of soul.
Hey, Soul Seekers, it's Shanna. Journey with me to discover how people around the world awaken to their true sense of soul. Now go grab your coffee, open your mind, heart, and soul.
It's time to awaken.
Today, back on Sense of Soul, I have an amazing woman named Julie Jankis. She's a world-renowned angel expert. Julie's on a mission to teach you how to connect with your angels and loved ones on the other side in order to make living heaven on earth. She is an angelic medium and the host of one of the top spiritual podcasts, Angels and Awakening. She's also the founder of Angel Reiki, a method of energy healing that simultaneously teaches you how to develop your unique God-given spiritual gifts in order to work one-on-one with people. She's also the author of Angels and Awakening, a guide to raise your vibration and hear your angels. And she's with us today. Please welcome Julie.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. You know what's so funny? I mean, we should go back and look at the dates, but it was like 2 years exactly
That I
the
was on
last
last?
time. Yeah. I remember that I was about to go see Suicide Boys. Do you remember that?
I do. I
In
do.
Red Rocks?
I do remember that because I was like, I think we had a conversation too. We were talking, and I remember being near the Costco when we were on the phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited to talk to you because I feel like lately I've been receiving so much from the other side, and it doesn't always look like the angelic picture that we have in our mind of angels.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you say that. We've got Thomas Moore coming on the podcast soon, and it was interesting in 1995, my mom came home from Borders. She was like on the verge of getting divorced. It was just that time of chaos in her life where she's got two little girls, me and my sister. Life is just kind of a mess and she's trying to figure it out. So
Yeah.
she comes home with Dark Night of the Soul by Thomas More, a Louise Hay book, and another book that I can't recall at this very moment. But I remember swiping it off of her nightstand and being like, okay, Dark Night of the Soul, I see what's going on with the two of you. There's a lot here. I want to try and figure this out between my parents. And so I started reading through it. And it's been one of those books where you keep two copies because you know that people in your life are going to need it. You
Yeah,
need to pass
I've got
on a
those.
copy, but
Yep.
you want to like have that one at home because when you need to lean on it, you just want to tune in. But his philosophy more, I think that so much within our world right now, Instagram and podcasts, and there's just this massive abyss of information just coming at us. And
Mhm.
I have just really wanted to step away from not creating content, but listening or kind of tuning in to other people's content because the
Yeah.
voice is just so loud. And I just want to know what the angels want to be shared. If I'm an angel messenger, that's really all I care about is what do they want people to know? And there's a lot of problem solving. Like, you know,
Mhm.
everything's a problem that needs to be solved. No, it's
Yeah.
not. Like this is life. This is your life. And um our souls just need this nourishment and this care. And Thomas More talks a lot about how there is no problem. You're
Mm.
going through life. You have an authentic soul, and that soul needs nourishment. What Spirit's been kind of guiding me towards is there's parts of our lives that just lack life to it. You could call that passion, you could call that joy, bliss. It just needs an invigoration of some life force energy so that we feel alive again because we go through all of these years, we get into our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, our 60s, and some parts of our lives here and there start to feel lifeless. And I
Mhm.
think that if we are more conscious of what we're taking in who we're taking in, because there's a lot of just people who are throwing stuff out there. And I'm like, oh, I don't agree with that. I don't agree. And a lot of people just buy whatever's out there, like whatever people are saying, they're absorbing it in. I
Yeah.
think we have to become much more tuned in. What's our own vibration? What's coming through our own intuitive filters? If somebody says something, you're like, that doesn't resonate with me. That's not my cup of tea. Go
Mhm.
the other direction. Find somebody else that's passionate, that you like resonate with. Joy.
Yeah.
Follow your joy.
Follow your joy. I had to do that same thing. And I had to really isolate because I felt like there was so many people that had different opinions on my study because I was studying the Gnostic Sophia. And I was like, I can't, this is just really distracting me from really truly going within to find my own truth
Yeah.
on this. And I had to do that same thing. In fact, I felt like it was such an inner journey that I mean, didn't get really anything from anyone. I mean, I did look to old text, to like ancient text and old like people like Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, like people who, were like hundreds of years ago. That's that and I didn't want to hear anybody else's opinion. I really wanted to make it for myself. And I think that there is so many people putting out stuff, you're right, that you have to really focus on that discernment.
Yeah. And I totally know what you mean about Sophia. I haven't done like a full dive into the deep end, but
Yeah.
what I've seen from people really kind of gave me this like turned off feeling.
Mhm.
And spirit goes, no, no, no. The exact same thing. If you channeled for yourself what's there, it would resonate, but not what everybody is putting out resonates. And there's a lot of beautiful creators out there that are putting beautiful, beautiful work into this world. I just had this friend yesterday that I went out to lunch with, and we had this exact same conversation. And she just said, how do you discern? Like, where is that discernment? Because not everybody knows. And I think that a lot of creators don't really hold people's mental state in mind, like when they're like putting things together. And I know that when I'm producing the podcast and the radio show and it's going to go broadcast to 3.5 million people in a week, that not everybody's headspace is in the same headspace. Some people are grieving, some people are going through a divorce, some people are just more susceptible to like believing anything, some people are more skeptical. And so, how do we present stuff in a way that's just the truth as it's come in to our consciousness and in a loving, positive way for folks?
I love that so much. I love that that is your intention because it's true. One thing for me is I saw on, I think it was like Feed Spot, right? That I was like the number one spiritual awakening podcast. And that hit me because I was like, okay, what does that mean? That means they're awakening. So they're looking for content because they are probably like I was at the very beginning, like grieving my religion, opening myself up to new things. It's a strange place where you could easily fall into many, many rabbit holes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fascinating. And it really starts with our intuition. Like if
Right.
you know how to tap into your own intuition, and if you, going back to that other point, nourish your soul, like it is the foundational principle of us as human beings that we have this soul self and it wants to guide the way here in our lives. Okay, well, if it wants to guide the way, and I'm spending like an hour on Instagram every day and a like 8-hour workday and doing this for my kiddo and this around the house. Like, where am I making space for my soul to just tune into its guidance? But I'm kind of playing with this new process in the morning
Yeah.
of just spending like 5 minutes reading something like that inspires me, a spiritual book, just 5 minutes of it, and then just tuning into the messages that I get,
Yeah.
writing them down, and then spending 5 minutes on affirmations just to kind of solidify that energy
Mhm.
concretely into, okay, then this is what I'm manifesting going forward because this is what spirit's showing me. It doesn't have to take a long time, but I find that on the mornings that I don't do that process or just connect into my oneness energy, it's not as easy for me to get back to that soul self energy throughout the day. But if I start my morning every morning with just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, oh my gosh, it's so much easier to reconnect and bring my soul with me throughout my entire day.
Oh my gosh, I start my every morning outside with the trees and
Oh,
just taking a moment. And sometimes, and I've said this so many times lately, I've been having to steal the moments. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like I will spend a long time watering my grass, much longer, than I should, but I just want to be connected to, that stillness and just that, however you do it, right? I mean, because it is being busy. You're a mom, you're the CEO of your house. It is almost like you have to steal it whenever you can. Bring in mindfulness wherever.
That's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately too, is just the fact that we as women, I hear so many women say when they're awakening, "Oh my gosh, I wish that I just had 3 months, 6 months, a year to go away and
I've
just
heard this too.
be in
Yeah.
this oneness energy." I'm like,
Mhm.
"Okay," but I think as the divine feminine rises and shifts here, that's the
Mhm.
exact opposite of what spirit is really calling us to do, because as I've been looking at this over the last 30 years, right, reading spiritual texts, and I love so many male spiritual teachers. They're phenomenal, but they've also had a completely different experience of life than we as females have. They've been able to take months off to write these books. They've been able to
Right.
take,
Sabbaticals.
yeah,
Yeah,
they've been
right?
able to go away and step away from their families and do this work or visit monasteries or go
Right.
do work with Buddhists. And what's being called to us is not a separation of our lives and the spiritual being on two separate ends of the room. Women are being called into leadership roles within the spiritual communities so that
Yeah.
we can show, hey, here is how you live your life and kick ass as a leader and be the messenger and do all of the things and be
Mhm.
fucking spiritual as shit as you're doing all of it. Like you can
Yeah.
hold all of it within yourself. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Let's fuse it all together.
Yeah, and I feel like you're going to do it better too.
Yeah.
Because I remember years ago, when I wasn't very connected or present with anything that I was doing, I'd get to the end of the day and I would not even know what I did. You know what I mean? Like, what did I do today? Like, I didn't even remember, because we're just so in our head, going to the next place. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? We were constantly thinking, what's the next move?
Well, and that's where people say it's soulless, right? And we step and we think
Yeah.
soulless, what does that mean? There's no soul, there's no passion, there's no life to the thing anymore. And I think so often when we get in these habits and these patterns and those routines, which a lot of us want, like we want to be in those and we're in them for a period of time, whether it's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, but spirit's going to call us to shift and to
Mhm.
change.
Yeah.
And I find that a lot of us resist the change because we get to a place of life that we're just so comfortable in. But just like the seasons, everything grows and everything has its season. And our souls want to grow and expand and flourish and love. And the only way that we can do that is through really this growth process and following what we're passionate about, following what we're joyful about. I've even come to when you follow what it is that you want, I'm not talking material stuff. I'm talking like it calls in your heart that it's time for you to look for a partnership, or that you want to look at a different career, or you want to try a hobby, or you know, you want to help your kid with this thing. Those are things that are really calling to your hearts and their wants, but we're so told within society that we can't have wants, needs, or desires. So we don't follow them and we get into this complacency, but there's no soul there. Soul is in the discovery of, like, I'm looking outside right now and I have the prettiest landscape of trees and a soccer field over
Yeah.
there, and just like the tallest, most gorgeous trees in my neighbor's yard. And they feed me such energy. And that soul is in
Yeah.
that presence
Yeah.
of being with ourselves, being with our energy, being with our day, loving our day.
I know for myself, remembering the first time I noticed
Yeah.
that tree, right?
Yeah.
Thinking that tree's always been there, but yet I never noticed it. I never noticed its divinity. And now I do, and things that like even stupid stuff. Like I've been listening to that song forever. I never heard that. I mean, there's so much divinity in the present moment that you miss. And I think what we're talking about is really moving in from this dimension into a higher dimension.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, call it God, universe, source, call it whatever you want. I like to say all that is. If we're a droplet in the ocean of all that is, and I believe that every one of our souls is infinite itself, but let's just go back to, we're a droplet in the ocean that is God, universe, source. That droplet is of the same fiber as the ocean. It's the same vibration as the ocean. And so I've seen scientists talk in all different types of ways about how you can shift your consciousness. But to me, the way that I feel it and perceive it, it's all felt, it's all vibrational. And you can really teach somebody how to shift their entire vibration into their soul self vibration, which is connected to God, universe, source, same vibration. And from there, there's an infinite wisdom where every answer you will ever need in your entire life journey, lifetimes in the future, all of it is in that energy. It's an energetic state that opens you up to this wisdom. And I think that still within the society, it's still pushed too much. Like, oh, well, you have to have a certain type of ability to be able to do that. No, you don't.
Yeah.
That is your birthright as a soul to be able to get back into your own energy and to tap into that wisdom.
Right. And I hear that all the time. I think that's who are listening to us right now are like, well, how do I do that? I mean, is it so easy that we just have to sit out with that tree?
Yeah.
I mean, how do we get there? I know your book has a lot of ways to raise your vibration.
Yeah, the book Angels and Awakening. Well, I'll tell you, I was just in a session right before this with a woman, and I go, "Okay, I just need you to know that your dad and your aunt on the other side have been pulling it through your own inner wisdom and your mom's inner wisdom here, that your daughter needs these swim lessons." I'm like, "It's not for anything bad. They keep
Yeah.
repeating it over and over again, but she needs these swimming lessons." And she goes, "Oh my gosh, Julie, that's been coming through. I've been hearing that." And it's not in her dad's voice. It's not in her aunt's
Right.
voice. It's in her own inner dialogue. And she
Mhm.
goes, "And my mom's been telling me that nonstop. So it must be coming into her too."
Wow.
And she goes, "And you're right, it's not for a bad reason." She goes, "When I was a young teen," she said, "I saw this guy, big football player like guy on an inner tube, but he was really struggling. He was in these big waves." She goes, "I knew I was such a powerful swimmer. I could go in and I could pull him in, I could get him in." And she did. And she goes, So it totally resonates. But, if she was sitting down every minute, and this isn't shaming, it's just
Right.
like teaching. If you're going to sit down every minute before your day starts, because that's when your energy is just most naturally, uh,
Raw, almost untouched
yes,
yet.
yes. So you sit down right after you wake up, and You just spend 5 minutes with them and you go, what do you need me to know? I will get 5 or 6 bullet points every single time I ask that in the morning. I go do those things every day, and that alone guides my life.
No. And
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people need validation. So you definitely validated for your client. But you can't rely on someone validating you either. Like you really don't. I think the purpose is to learn how to trust yourself. Trust that inner guidance.
Well, it's so funny. So many people, I like just kind of going to different folks to get readings because I like
Oh,
to see
yeah.
what they do or how they do it. And
Hmm.
sometimes I just want to test certain things, or feel certain things, or I've got questions myself that I want to just kind of play with. Who's good, right?
Oh,
Um,
yeah. That's a good one. Yeah.
so I go to like the psychic fairs sometimes, and I actually went to a person the other day who pulled angel cards, and I heard, "Don't do it, it's not gonna be worth your time." Paid $20, $30 to just have them pull 3
Right.
cards, and they said, "This is your past, this is your present, this is your future, now read them one at a time," and they go, "Okay, now that's your past, that's your present, that's your future," and I was like, "Really? Like, no intuitive information coming about each one?"
Right.
I feel that a lot of times people are disappointed with the readers that they go to see.
Yeah.
I love bringing through validating information for my clients where
Oh,
every single session they're like, nobody could have known that.
yeah.
Tears come in. They just really make that personal connection. But I think it's a sacred relationship that what I've learned along the way is I have to feel a connection with the person. I want to know that that person isn't going to bring through any negative information. I only want to go to people who are going to bring through positive
I
information.
hate hearing stuff like that. It
Oh
really
my God.
disturbs me.
I could tell
I
you
remember.
stories.
I have stories too. It's just
Oh
not
my
right.
gosh.
If
It's
someone, if a
not.
psychic is telling you that your husband is cheating on you, you should leave him, run the other
Or
way.
that it's gonna happen. No, it's not, and it's not even a possibility, or, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Most people
Right.
manifest the negative stuff that people told them because they
Absolutely.
don't have the energetic skills or tools to be able to work through that energy. So, I ask people before I go for a session, "Do you bring through negative information?" If the answer is yes, bye-bye. I'm not going
Really?
to.
Have you had to actually say bye-bye?
I actually do that. I interview counselors too before I go and work with a counselor. I really want to know how you're going to work through this process. I don't want all the Freud mumbo jumbo from before. I want somebody who's intuitive, who's empathic, who's really going to bring in some spirituality. So I don't believe in just going to anybody about anything. I feel you feel called to people, aligned. That's
True.
great. You research them a little bit, you know that they're legit,
Mhm.
awesome. And you go to the people who bring through the best information for you, but you don't need those people because in your daily life, the validation comes
Mhm.
from listening. And as you listen, you follow, you take action. And when you do that, you have just huge validators. I'll give you an example, a story. It's one of my favorite ones. So I was first starting out, my dad had passed. I just got into this work and I live in a very religious area where you're not really allowed to say that you're a psychic medium because you'll be told that
You'll
you're
be
going to hell, right? Burning at the stake. So my daughter's really she at the time she was really into American Girl doll, and this one woman was like selling her lot on Facebook Marketplace. So I set up a time to drive like a half an hour, go get this stuff. And as I'm about to leave the house, Spirit goes, "Stop, go back in the house, get 2 gift cards. One's for her, one's for her friend." They didn't just say get 2 gift cards. They said, "One's for her, one's for her friend." And then they said, "And go upstairs and get more cash because she's going to have more stuff that she didn't post yet. And you're going to want to buy it." So, this is before, like, Venmo and Zelle and
Yeah.
everything. Go
Very
get the
specific too.
cash. Y Yes,
Very specific.
that's how it comes in, though, I
Right. Yeah.
swear. And it's not like it sounds like somebody else. This is
Right.
just my own stream of consciousness, inner dialogue speaking to me. So, and I don't know this woman from Boo, right? Like just found her on
Praise God.
Marketplace in the sales section. Go over to her house, and the entire way I'm dreading this. Like, don't want to say this. Like, I don't want to have this rigmarole. I don't want to be like talking to a Christian who's going to try and like talk me out of what I do or
Right.
shame me. So
True.
I go and I leave the gift cards in the car and I leave the cash in the car.
Okay.
And I step in her house and she goes, I got more stuff upstairs. You want to see it? I go, okay.
Mhm.
So she brings it down and I'm like, yep, I want to buy all this too. I go, I got more cash in the car. So I go get the cash and I see the gift cards and I'm like, okay, spirit, I get it. I'm going to bring
Mhm.
the gift cards. So I go over to her. I'm like, okay, this is what I do. I've got one gift card for you. They said one gift card's for your friend. And she goes, now this is when I just started out. Like this is like a year and a couple of months into me doing this work. And she goes, you're not Julie from Wheaton, are you? And I go, yeah. And she pulls my business card out of her back pocket and she goes, you're never going to believe this. But my friend is over. She's in the
Yes.
basement. My friend called you from her cell phone last week and left a message that we both wanted to book sessions back to back. And you called her back this weekend and we're downstairs. We were just about to call you. And I go,
Love.
holy cow. God, you don't have to bring me another sign again in my entire life. I do
Right.
want them. But if you didn't, this is proof enough. I couldn't have known.
Right. That synchronicity
Yeah.
is so strong along this journey. And you just have to learn to trust it. And I just that's been my whole life over the past, I'd say 5 years, just leaning into it. I don't even know where I'm going. Just like you said, you had no idea what that was for.
Yeah.
You just
No.
trusted it.
Yeah. And it gets harder, like, because I think that once you start a successful business, the thought is, well, okay, well, I don't know how to run a successful business, although you got it to that point in the beginning. So
Mm.
you go join these entrepreneurial groups and you try and learn from business people. But at the end of the day, and they do have templates and formulas, and some of the background knowledge is great to have. But at the end of the day, Spirit has this beautiful template for how your business should work.
Good work.
And I've pretty much tossed 95% of that knowledge out the window. And I'm just like, Spirit, show me the way. And they do every single step.
Every time. That reminds me of me with I edit my own episodes. And of course it would free up so much time. I mean, I put out 2 episodes, but you know what? When I go back to listen to this, I'm going to receive it so much differently. And I have literally been in the conversations actively and then also being the witness to it. And it has really been a step up when it comes to,
Wow.
how I receive every single one of my guests. I mean, I learned so much, kind of double dipping here. But I was thinking about this. There is sometimes when you're in grief, and you and I both have lost our dads, and there's sometimes stuff going on in your life that it's so hard to connect to. And
Mhm.
so that's also a good time, where you might want to go see, somebody who can connect for you that may open you back up even.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and there are studies on this, but intuitively, I believe that there's going to be more studies in the future that just continue to show how much faster. I think the study right now says that if you are grieving and you have a good counselor who's helping you through the grief,
Yeah.
and you have a good psychic intuitive reading, your healing process is so much faster and so much stronger than those who don't have those two components. And they've looked at it versus like having just the counselor and not the psychic reading, and it's not the same. So
Yeah.
having that good reading while grieving is very, very powerful.
That is so cool. And also, a lot of people ask me all the time, like, I want to know who my spirit guide is. I want to know, who my spiritual team is. How do you feel about that? Do you have names for your spirit guides? Do you
Oh,
name them?
yeah.
Have they given you names? Or how does one meet with their spiritual team? I wanted to know my spirit name. I wanted to know my spirit name. I actually did end up finding it like in between lives. That was where I received mine. Who knows how many lives, so
Yeah.
maybe it's this life. I don't know.
That's so funny because I prayed. The name Julie has just never resonated with me, but it also doesn't resonate to change it because I've moved so much in my life, and I
I
feel
know.
like people know how to find me via this name.
Yeah.
But I prayed, and I every time I just hear Kaya, Kaya,
Mm,
Kaya.
mm. That's
Um,
really weird because guess what mine is? Ni
what?
Nia.
Nia.
Mhm.
Well, and it's angelic, right? That too, a lot of the A's at the end of the name,
Right.
Sophia.
And actually, Shannon is my real name, but it means the possessor of hidden wisdom. Sophia.
Ooh.
I'm like, geez. Yeah,
Um,
I think that we choose some of this stuff before, but I do have a
oh,
friend who her family's native, and I did her tree, and her family named her the most white name they could possibly name their child because they were trying to fit in. So she's Jennifer, right?
yeah,
And she just recently changed her name. Like, I think that, there's a lot to that too. I think about gematria. Is that what it's called? Gematria?
I'm not sure.
It's like a Hebrew, like numerology.
Oh, nice.
Like,
Okay.
names and stuff like
Yeah.
that. This is, they carry a vibration.
When I was watching Legally Blonde for the first time when it came out in the early 2000s or late 90s, I heard auditorily within my just knowingness and within my mind, your daughter's name is Al. And,
Oh,
um,
really?
yeah, and I go, "Okay." There's
Ah,
never a second doubt, like, from that time on, your daughter's name is Elle, okay. I didn't have a daughter, it would be over 10 years before she came into
oh,
existence, but that was her name.
that's amazing.
Yeah. Going back to your question though, yes, you have so many more angels and loved ones and ancestors on your spirit team than you possibly realize. And I love that you're in genealogy because I think about one day when I'm on the other side, I will want to know, like, how are my grandkids, great grandkids, all the way down the line? Like,
Oh,
how
cool.
are they doing?
Yeah.
So the angels always explain it like this. If you were at a family party, somebody else's family party, you didn't know all of them, but you just stepped into a room full of 50 people you didn't know,
Yeah.
you couldn't really get to know all of them well in a couple of hours.
Mhm.
But if you went out to lunch with each of them over the course of a couple of years, you would remember a lot more about each one. And they want us to take that time with them. It's so funny because I have an angel Reiki school where I teach people how to be mediums, energy healers, intuitives, angel messengers. And they're like, Julie, I'm working with angels, but I'm only working with one. Archangel Michael's the only one that's coming in. And I go, no, 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 no. Archangel Michael is the first one who wants you to get to know his energy. And
Wow.
after you get to know him in 10 sessions, he is going to kind of roll out and you're going to really connect with another angel that's going to come in and you're going to get to know them very, very well. And you're going to work with them for a number of sessions. And then another angel is going to come in. And that's the way that it kept happening for me and actually still
Amazing.
happens to this day.
Me too. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And it started with Archangel Michael. And I don't know if I told you, but he looks like Brad Pitt to me. So he's welcome back anytime. But I haven't seen it. He hasn't really been in present very much. He's welcome to come back. But
Yeah.
Julie, that's amazing. And don't you also find that that's also amazing is in talking to people in this, who's going through this, you're going to find so many similarities. They're like, me too. I've experienced that. And that helps too. So like listening to your podcast and my podcast, just I think it makes people feel like, oh my God, I'm not crazy, right? I'm not. Like people are experiencing that too.
Oh, yeah. No, you're not crazy at all. It's important for everybody to take everything at their own pace. It's important for you to check everything with your own intuition. And
Mhm.
it's important for you to have an earthbound spirit team of podcasters and
Yeah,
healers and
good,
resources and just everything that you need,
good.
because you need your spirit team on the other side, but you need the physical here too as a human being. And if you don't have that community, because most of my people don't have that with their partners, with their friends, they can't
Neighbors, yeah,
talk about it. Mm-mm. Then you
exactly.
need to find that community yourself and pull that resource together so that
Yeah,
you feel whole as a human being and that you have all of the outlets that you need.
absolutely. Can you tell everybody where they can find your podcast and find you?
Yeah, I love that. I'm over at Angels and Awakening. You can search it everywhere that podcasts are found. If you're in the LA area or just below there, we've got a radio show that you can look up. And yeah, we've got the website too, theangelmedium.com, where all the resources are.
And your book, which is also, your book isn't just a book either.
Yeah, it's a book and it's a workbook. I always hate, I'm
Love
very
that.
ADHD. And when somebody's like, I've got a workbook and I've got a book, they're never
Yep.
at the same place in my house at the same
Never.
time. So I'm like, I kind of shot myself in the foot because the people on Audible didn't love that as much. So
Oh,
I recommend not getting it on Audible, but definitely like the physical copy so that you have both. Then maybe you can listen to it too. But yeah, that's there. And then if you go to the website, theangelmedium.com, we have 31 days of meditations
mm,
that the angels call the angel success formula. And it helps you step into your power because you can listen to it's meant for like on the first day of the month, you listen to number one. On the
mm,
15th day of the month, you listen to number 15, but you can keep listening all year. And it's really going to help you step into co creating the life that you desire for yourself.
We all need that right now. Thank you so much for coming on. I really
Yay.
appreciate it. And I look forward to working with you still, continuing.
Oh, me too. Thank you so much for the generous offer to be over here.
Sure.
I love being on your show. Thank you so much.
Of course. Hey, can I show you something really quick?
Yeah.
Watch, it's right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so of course I can make them prettier, but do I get rid of them?
Oh my gosh.
Right? These
The
are
American Girl dolls.
because I I love them. Actually, this was my oldest daughter's, my
She looks
25-year-old,
like you, actually. That one.
Samantha.
Yeah, I love it.
And I don't know who this is, but I mean, I was like, she won't, I don't know. Do I keep them for grandkids? I don't know.
Yes.
I
Yes.
thought that
Keep
was
it.
funny because they're right here next to me.
That's hysterical. And I never talk about American Girl doll.
But it's just that transition time.
Yeah.
They're not little girls anymore. We're both experiencing that, but they're turning into our good friends.
I know. I love it.
Thanks so much. It was great seeing you.
You too, Shanna. Thank you so much. Bye.
Sense of soul.